There we go. It's absolutely normal that when Google goes on stage, technology doesn't work. That's just before I get started, quick note from Roman Ega. Apparently there's going to be a massive beer party outside here after all the presentations and the discussion. So nobody run away, stay here, have a drink. I think most of the speakers are going to hang around for a little bit later on. I'll be here, so happy to talk to you guys afterwards as well. My name is Sher Khan. I work at Google. I am a business leader for hotel ads. I specialize on a few markets around EMEA, Austria, Switzerland, Russia, Middle East, and Africa. And I'm very excited to be here today with all these distinguished people in the travel industry. I'm quite new to the travel industry, and so Google is also not the most obvious player in the travel industry, unlike a few other industries where I'm in, where I've worked in before, so it's great for Google to be part of this. Thank you for the invitation. A little bit of context on me so you know who I am. So I'm based in Vienna, I'm from Austria. My mission is to boost hoteliers' digital presence globally with focus on the markets that I mentioned. I've been with Google for about 8 years, based in Dublin, New York, Hamburg, and now Vienna, which is my hometown. And what I do is we have a product called Hotel Ads. Hotel Ads it's a little hidden, but it's basically the opportunity for users to compare prices for hotel rooms. And it's my job to scale that up across the markets. Industry experience, largely travel, retail, CPG. Education is up there in case anybody's interested. And this is a picture that gets me started on my presentation. I was in Cape Town, South Africa last week, which was beautiful. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend going there. This is top of the Table Mountain I actually climbed up, which is why I have sweaty armpits, in case you can see. It's apparently there's this joke in Cape Town that anybody can take the cable car up the mountain, but if you're a real man, you need to climb up, and that's all I needed to hear. And I didn't take the cable car. I needed to prove that. And so I'm talking today a little bit about what position Google plays in the whole crazy travel space. It's only about a 2-hour presentation, so hopefully you guys are going to be okay with that. I'm just kidding. It's a few minutes. And so let's get started. It was actually really difficult to put all this information in such little space. The journey of a traveler online today is very complicated, and I'm going to tell you this with a story. About 6 months ago, somebody at work sent me a YouTube video of gorillas, mountain gorillas, playing in Rwanda. And when I was growing up, I used to love gorillas for some reason. Whenever we went to the zoo, I always loved the gorillas the most. And so when I saw the video, I got really excited. I was like, oh wow, this is so cool, I want to do this. I didn't realize there was this whole big gorilla tourism industry in Rwanda. I'd never thought about it. And so I watched the videos on YouTube at work on my laptop, and then I went home, and in the evening I sat my girlfriend down and I was like, listen, we need to go to Rwanda. There's this amazing gorilla safari that we need to do. And we sat on our couch and we were browsing through a tablet on different movie videos about Rwanda, what to do, where to stay, how much it costs, the whole plan a trip exercise. And then, that didn't quite work out, so a few days later I'm sitting on the subway and I'm taking out my phone and I'm looking for additional things to do in Rwanda. Turns out my girlfriend isn't a big gorilla fan, so I was looking for other things for her to do while we're there. The whole pitch didn't work. We went to South Africa instead, which was absolutely fantastic too, so nothing lost. The reason I'm telling you the story though, is every single logo and everything here up on this slide was touched during our search for what to do in Rwanda. I started on a laptop on YouTube at work, then I went onto a tablet at home on my couch and a mobile phone on the subway. That was across 3 different places, 3 different times, 3 different devices, and I hadn't even looked at booking anything yet. I also got out TripAdvisor for all the reviews. I looked at booking.com for all sorts of price and flight information that was interesting at the time. And I used a bunch of other websites. I went to hotels directly, I went to tour operators. I touched every single point upon this slide, and I actually never went to Rwanda, and I didn't pay for anything. That is how complex a user's journey is today when they are planning a trip. And so, what is Google's space in this? Well, we know that today's customer is extremely fragmented all over the web. It's very clear that for us that the 20th century gave us media as a whole. The 1990s was when the web was born today as we know it, and over the last couple of years we've really allowed marketers to become a source for trusted, immersive information. Information that users can see like they've never been able to see before. And at this stage now, users are actually demanding more interesting, more exciting, and more personalized information than ever before. We've heard personalization being mentioned earlier on. It is a key driving force in what users are expecting. And if they don't find it, then they're very likely to leave and experience what they need to experience somewhere else. And so, think about it from your own point of view, because all this madness that is going on from a marketer's point of view is very, very confusing. How is a hotel supposed to find somebody that wants to live in that, book that hotel, with the user spending hours and hours on different platforms at different times on different devices? Very, very hectic. On average, users take out their phones and unlock them 150 times a day. That's an awful lot of unlocking. And there's an awful lot of moments that happen on phones that contribute to a larger trip that is being planned. As my story hopefully illustrated. Out of those many, many different moments, there's a few moments we call magic moments. It's a little cheesy, US coined theme. We call them magic moments. And the magic moments are basically intent-rich moments, where the user uses information to make a decision that will lead to a purchase. Identifying these magic moments for marketers, like hoteliers, is very, very difficult. And what we are trying to do in this space is we're trying to facilitate that. And so a product that you may have heard of, we launched it about 6 months ago, it's called Google Destination Search. Can I just see a quick show of hands? Anybody ever heard of the product before? Oh, this is better than the last time I asked. Okay, glad you guys have heard of it. Excellent. So Google Destination Search is, we're going to walk through it real quick. It's basically an attempt to make planning a trip easier. Planning a trip is more than booking a hotel and booking a flight. Those may be the cornerstones of planning a trip that may be really, really important, but a whole lot of additional stuff happens, like I walked through in my example earlier. How to get there, how to get from A to B, how do I get from the hotel to the airport? Where's the conference room compared to the hotel? How do I find that information? What does a mountain gorilla safari look like? Is there a video that I can see as to what it actually looks like when I walk up and down those mountains? All these things are happening in the context of planning a trip. Google Destination Search tries to combine a lot of that into one. An example I'm using here is basically what I did with my girlfriend when we went down to South Africa. We searched for Africa destinations. Examples on the next slide. And we knew we were going to South Africa. So when Cape Town came up, we just clicked on Cape Town. Clicking on Cape Town opened up a whole new interface with all the information that we were looking for around Cape Town. So there is a couple of pictures up there. This was really, really important to sell everybody on what it looks like. Little content just below on what Cape Town actually does and what the USPs are. If I click on, there's some more information as to sights and sounds of Cape Town, what things to do in what things there are to do in Cape Town. And if I continue a little further, you come up to a plan a trip feature. This is what's really, really important for marketers. Planning a trip is where marketers actually hope that they can find that magic moment that they can impact, right? And planning a trip basically boils down to flights and hotels with all the other information that is provided as well. And so we pull information for flights and hotels from our other flights and hotel products into the Google Destination Search experience. And what that allows the user to do is then stay in one place instead of going through all these different websites, through all these different links, and still get a lot of the information that they're looking for when planning a trip. And we, just for the record, we integrate our partners like Booking and Expedia into this as well. Obviously, when people search for flights and hotels, they will also have the opportunity to see our partners' prices and availability being displayed there. So I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I want to open up to questions. I think the discussion we had earlier was really, really good. I'm really excited that that there were so many very, very good questions. And so, let's go. Any questions? Any questions from the panel? Yay.
You said you're integrating partners, Expedia, Booking. What are the rules and the conditions that an independent hotel can be integrated at hotel ads?
Good question. I talked to somebody about this in the break. I forgot who, but we always strive to be a platform. We don't strive to be anything more than that, but certainly not anything less. Any platform should always allow a user to choose whatever they want to do. That includes providing links to OTAs, and it includes providing links to direct booking opportunities. And so for us, if a user is searching for a hotel in Salzburg, to be very specific, we aim to provide links to the top OTAs based on pricing, and then also the hotel that they're specifically looking for as well. Does that answer the question a little bit? No? Sorry? Did I miss anything?
And the conditions for the hotel, is it also bookable?
So the way the product works is hotels will only be shown if they are bookable. We work with live feeds, which means we need pricing and availability data, just like the large OTAs out there, and we need to make sure that that data is accurate. The reason is because if a user sees a lovely hotel for a very good price and then they can't book it, they're not going to associate the problem with the hotel, they're going to associate it with Google, the booking platform, and we need to make sure that that problem doesn't happen. So we go through very, very complicated processes where we need to make sure that the small hotel chain or the medium-sized hotel chain can provide that data to us.
Sure. One question.
Sure.
If there is a hotel content ad, like you described before, is it an advertisement from your kind of view, or is it content from the user perspective?
Are you talking about the hotel I showed in the screenshot, or something else?
No, you described that later on hotels will be bookable within that content, your core business.
Yeah.
Is it an advertisement?
No.
It's not an advertisement.
No. At the moment, the Google Destinations product that I showed up there now only uses organic information.
And later on, there's a bookable content from the hotel. That's an advertisement.
No, it's organic. What I showed right now is purely organic. There's no marketing implication in this yet. We're working on it and we hope to have that there soon, but what I showed right now is purely organic, but that's not hotel ads. Hotel ads is a different product. Hotel ads is advertising.
So, at the first step, it's organic, but if you go in there, you search for a destination, as soon as you go to the point where you book a hotel, it's not organic anymore.
So just to distinguish, that's right, but for the screenshots I showed, the Google Destinations product, there is no advertising anywhere in the product. For non-Google destinations, so in Google Search or in Google Maps, that's where ads are shown, and that's advertising, and Booking and Expedia are big players.
But to Marco's question, so are you saying, maybe I'm not getting this, but are you saying you are also letting individual hotels sign up for this? Are you acquiring individual hotels to sign up for it, or?
Yes, absolutely. We're not doing it directly, we're doing it through partners. Partners are integration partners like CRS companies, channel managers that are out there, and we work with channel managers who then resell to hoteliers. Okay. So we have a channel manager, for example, based in Vienna. They work with roughly, I think 9,000 properties around the world, and we work with them to allow hotels directly to be booked.
But again, back to my question, there's no Google market management that goes out and acquires one by one, because that's, I guess, to your question, the hotel will always have to go through an intermediary, whatever that might be, in order to be on the product, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, got it.
Absolutely.
Sure. Is this a kind of competition to Kayak and those other meta search guys?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, this was a silly question for sure.
There's no silly questions. Absolutely.
Wait for the next one.
Okay.
So, if it's a competition and it's an advertisement, you said your product is an advertisement, are those other meta searchers able to get the same position too?
So the question is whether Kayak and TripAdvisor use the same product?
Yeah. If I'm on the page and, for example, your ad, you call it ad, is on position 4. Are the meta searchers like Kayak or TripAdvisor able to get the same position too?
Meta search players like Kayak and TripAdvisor can only use the product if the hotel is bookable on their site. So if
you're allowed to distribute kayak into your system,
if it's bookable. The experience we want the user to have is we want the user to be able to book a hotel on the website that Google sends them to. If that happens in Kayak, then that's fine. But if Kayak then redirects to Booking or to Expedia or to somebody else, then that's not not an option. So the property needs to be bookable on the site that they are leading to.
So is that then also true for the TripAdvisor booking button? The instant book, sorry.
So at the moment, Kayak is the only meta search player that we have on the product.
Okay.
If we talked a lot about customer experience and what customers gonna do to also A/B test and so on. How do you want to make sure that this experience is ending up in loyal customers? Because I think that exactly these points, the experiences they are making or they are doing, again goes into direction comparing. As you mentioned, you visited, I don't know, 50 pages before you decided not to go there. So how do you want to make sure that the customers come back?
So for us, we're the platform. If we provide relevant, accurate information to the user, we hope they're going to come back. And we do that by having very many policies to make sure that the partners and players that we allow to advertise are providing high value content, highly relevant content to the user. And we do that by making it bookable. So if the user comes onto Google and uses our product and then we send them to Kayak and then Kayak sends them to another OTA, that's a terrible experience because the user has gone through 3 websites without making a booking. If, however, Kayak is bookable or any other player is there, then the idea is that the experience is much more seamless. That's how we hope the users to come back. There's no loyalty program we have involved. And many users, as you guys know, many users like OTAs. They like OTAs because of all the great advantages that OTAs provide, like customer service, loyalty, whatever it is. But many customers don't. Many customers want to book directly with the hotel because of a lot of the stuff that Markus Platzer said. Maybe they just want to support local hotels. Maybe they want to have the option of booking directly because they want to have the relationship with the hotel and not a third party. Google's objective is to provide the option. Not to favor anybody, but to provide the option.
But it's not direct. There is still a channel in between, which in this case is a channel manager, no?
That's a channel manager, but the user doesn't actually go to the channel manager website. The user goes to the hotel website. So for the user, it's the hotel direct.
But not for the hotel. I mean, they pay as well the commission there. I mean, it doesn't matter in which pocket they put it, no?
They pay a commission there too, yes. But it's a different type of commission model. Yes.
We are talking, for example, in Austria, we are talking from Sector, is a technology partner also from the ÖHV, and they are providing pretty fair conditions, just small commission fees. And most of them have the booking engine, they're providing the booking engine for the hotel website and also be a channel manager.
Absolutely. It should be seen as an additional channel for a hotelier and not a substitute. Are there any questions from the audience? I sense this is getting a little technical.
Thank you very much. My question is, according to your product, whoever is listed there are in the organic. It's not the paid listing. So who exactly? Because I might be number 8 in the organic. Am I also into your product? Thank you.
So for Google destinations, it's only organic, and it's a list of different hotels that fit the criteria that the user selected. So dates, price, number of stars the hotel has, and there's a list of hotels that is entirely organic, the normal way that the Google search results are organic. The ads are a different product. It's Google Hotel Ads. It's a totally different product that doesn't participate in Google destination at all. Sorry, did you?
Mr. Shakan.
Okay.
Good afternoon. It was a brilliant expository, but there's something confusing me now. Can you please confirm if Google is converting from a search engine to a booking engine?
So that's a very good question. Thank you for asking that. The short answer is no, because Google does a lot more than travel. Google is a search engine that allows you to search for pretty much anything that you can think of. And we always strive to provide relevant and accurate information to whatever you search for. For travel specifically, so hotels or flights in this case, we have invested heavily in the last few years to try and allow users to find information that allows them to purchase whatever they're looking for. Sometimes we do it through partners like Booking and Expedia when they have an offer that we deem is best. And sometimes, where it is possible, we provide a direct connection to the flight, to the airline or to the hotel. But we always aim to have the choice. The most important thing for us is to be a platform that allows the user to make a decision. Do I want to book via booking.com or Expedia, or do I want to book via the hotel directly? And that is what we strive to provide the option for. Hopefully that helps.
Yes. My question is just from different perspectives, like from the customer perspective, first of all. Like you said, you've been to so many websites first to find like a real experience, and then you find out that there is no, and lots of things that you have experienced. But what you're looking for is for something authentic. So how do you make sure that the customer finds really what they're looking for? Because while you're looking for a destination, what it has to offer, you visit so many forums, you visit so many websites just to get this authentic information, and that will provide you an insight into the destination. So not just advertisements on some websites, but really so much of the user-generated content, and you really want to know what is there in life. But then that's the customer's perspective. How do you make sure that your website, your platform, makes people helps people to find this information really authentic? How do you make sure that all this content is available on your destination, because maybe it's just another substitute for a couple of websites? And then from the perspective of the suppliers, isn't it just very confusing to them? You have Expedia, you have Booking, and then for a hotel manager, what am I going to do? There are so many websites, and all of them are pushing me, and that's just sometimes really hard for them. And maybe there are some just small hotels like a hub or something that is really unique, and they're just not into this technology, but this is something that maybe lots of people would like to experience, so you're missing this part as well. And then the third perspective is with the...
I'm going to have to ask you what that is. The third question is again after I've answered the first one. So let me quickly answer the first one. I think the first one to summarize was what... or the second one actually was to summarize. There's so much going on. The consumer journey is so complicated. What is a hotel supposed to do? Is that the question? Or how is a hotel supposed to work with thousands of partners that are providing different things? Yeah? Okay. So the short answer again is whether a hotelier likes the digital revolution, if you want to call it that, or not, is actually totally irrelevant, because it's happening and all users are looking online. Maybe all is the wrong word, but most, right? So most people are online and they're going to book a hotel, even having done some part of their research online. So whether the hotelier likes that or not is not really relevant. They need to deal with it. And how they deal with it depends on the size of the hotel. If it's a chain like Marriott or Hilton, they have a department figuring it all out. If it's a hotel like the Goldene Hirsch, with probably a few people running the whole show outside of the service, they don't have a marketing team, and so they need to rely on third parties that they trust to help. And there's a lot of organizations, especially in Austria, that help with that. The ÖHV is one of them. They will provide advice and information, and I think they have something called trusted or premier partners or trusted partners or something, where they say, hey, hotels, this is these are the partners that solve the channel management issues, and we trust them. These are the OTAs that we recommend you use, something along that, and they'll provide that type of advice and consulting, and every single hotelier should be taking full advantage of that. But is it confusing? Yes, absolutely. It's very confusing. But it should also provide a massive opportunity for the hotelier, because if the hotelier does it properly, they have the opportunity to drive their business, even in off-season periods. They have the ability to get guests from all over the world, as opposed to the way it may have been in the past. That was the second question. The first question, see, I knew this would happen. What was the first question again?
The customer's experience and how to find this authentic, like how.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Sure.
Yes, the customer experience. How can Google guarantee that what we're showing is better than what everybody else is showing? Because now everybody is showing all sorts of data, right? So this is actually probably the core question that a lot of people at Google were thinking about before we launched a lot of the travel products. Why should we be another player in the travel space? We've got all these guys on stage. We've got Kayak, we've got Trivago, we've got TripAdvisor, and there's probably a lot of others in regional markets. Well, what's the point of Google going out there? Well, there's probably a few things. One is the size of the opportunity is massive. Travel is a huge industry, and Google wanted to be a bigger part of it. And the second is users are coming to Google products such as search, maps, YouTube, and all the others to start or somewhere in the middle of their search phase. And if Google doesn't provide relevant information at the point when they are searching, we're going to lose out. So maybe it wasn't actually that it was a proactive decision that, oh yes, we want to be an additional market. Maybe it was, we need to be here, otherwise we're going to lose relevance in the long term. How do we make sure that the data that we show is relevant? Well, we work with a lot of players in the world, and we have a lot of data. And so we tend to know what works and what doesn't. We have a lot of data on reviews. We work with a lot of third parties to get that data. We have a lot of large customers and partners that generate a lot of data for us, so we kind of know what works there as well. And what we're doing is essentially taking tidbits of that and putting it into the Google destination search experience to make it a lot easier. When I go travel, I search for hotel, flights, temperature, rain likelihood, traveling from airport to hotel, from hotel to beach, from beach to mountain, from mountain back to hotel. I use all these different types of products to do that, and then I watch videos on what's happening at the destination. Google destination search, the idea behind it is to have this all in one place where I can get a good summary. Obviously, I'll still be looking at other sources at some point as well, but it definitely should facilitate the search. Does that make sense?
So what you're saying, you're hand-picking all the information to make sure this is all relevant and interesting for me.
Yeah, hand-picking, probably not manually, but yes. Yes, absolutely. There was a third question? I don't know if...
No.
Understand? Oh, sorry. I have another question. Go ahead.
So my question is, do you guys have plans for having an independent application for Google destination on a cell phone? Because that would be a hit, I guess.
Really good question. Currently, Google Destinations only works on mobile, globally, and in English. We're hoping to roll it out in additional languages real soon. We're going to add a lot more features really soon as well, such as features that are interesting to marketers. But there's no specific app set for Google Destinations right now. The idea is that it's an immersive experience on your phone. Users go to Google to search for something and not to an app. They would probably go to apps as well. But we wanted to make sure that when a user goes online and they look for, hey, I want to plan a trip to Cape Town, what am I going to do? They can do that from the search interface that they're in.
Thank you.
So really good questions. Typically somebody always asks me about stuff like Google My Business listings not working or Gmail addresses not, passwords not working. This is going really well.
So the Google being a very different company, it was totally different than the travel sector. But now it's on into the travel industry. So why there was a need for Google to do this? Were they not like the other companies were already in the market quite established? Were they not good enough? Or what is the reason behind? And if they are not good enough, then I don't know. I have tried Google Flight, and I don't think that is better than the other ones, because sometimes the results are too it's not that good, I have to say, in terms of price and everything.
These are the types of questions I was expecting. So to answer your first question, why is Google going into travel space? It's a massive opportunity for all marketers, and at the end of the day, we serve users, but without our marketers, we can't serve users because we don't have any revenue. So it's a massive opportunity. And the second thing is, users are coming to Google at some part of their travel search journey, and they use Google products. We want to provide the data and information that is relevant to them at that time within a Google experience without them having to leave. If they want to leave, we provide the links, and they can leave, and they do, but we want to make sure they get a lot of information within Google as well. And Google Flights, I won't ignore the Google Flights question. Google Flights is a lovely product. I'm not sure where you tested it. It really depends on where you try and use it. If you try and use it so that it works a lot better in the US, for example, than it does in Africa. I just tested it in Africa last week, and we really need to improve our partnerships in Africa because we don't have as many partners there as we do in the US or in Western Europe. But it's definitely worth a look, and I always feel that it allows you to compare a lot of the data points that some of the other players don't. But it's obviously a matter of opinion.
I would like to ask a question in the same direction as the previous one, actually.
Sure.
The ideas that sort of I got from your new product, you actually said project, and it looks more like a project actually, not like a ready product. And is that you're again just doing another thing? I mean, Google, that is not, there's no new unique idea, it's just like taking a couple of things from other places and building something bigger, and through economies of scale to try to drive the people to your place. And yeah, personally I'm not really a big fan of that. And I'm just saying my opinion and to provoke you and to see what are you going to say.
Thank you for asking. That's why we're here.
Just to finish, something that lately I discovered about Google, I heard it actually on the news, is that it was actually 1 year ago that there was a case in Europe that's about the privacy of the information, and the lawyer, there was a big group of lawyers in Europe, and they said that they could not protect the personal information from American-based companies like Twitter, Google, Skype, and others, and I find this also not really cool to say.
So thanks for asking the provoking questions. I'll answer the second one first because I don't really have a lot to say to that. I'm not sure exactly what you read last year, but there's always privacy concerns whenever a data company is in the news. What I can say is that we take data privacy very, very serious, and if you look at our track record, especially compared to some of the other massive names and brands out there, we're actually doing quite well. But I'm not sure what specifically you're talking about, so I can't really comment on that. The first question that you asked was around why are we doing something that everybody else is doing, and you're not a fan of that. So earlier, the gentleman over there gave the great story of a gun out of wood and then a bigger gun, and my comment was, two is a party, three is a crowd, and we're not trying to build an even bigger gun. My comment was, what Henry Ford did many, many years ago was he said, if I would have asked my customers what they want, they would have said they want a faster horse, and he went out and built cars. And so our idea of Google Destination Search is definitely not related to what an OTA does. An OTA, such as Booking and Expedia or Kayak and TripAdvisor, which are meta search players, those are companies that do something very, very different to what Google Destination Search tries to do. Google Destination Search tries to take all these different types of data points that you look for when you go through planning a trip into one place and allows you to then go to the others. We're not reinventing the wheel, but it's definitely something that I don't think has been done before, so it's different. I think there's one more follow-up question.
No, not to follow up. I just wanted to say that, yeah, with his example, he did it because of a passion, because there was a spark inside of him, not because somebody else did something. He was, I don't know, I got a little bit different feeling from his example, not he was very passionate.
Well, I wasn't trying to talk down his example. I was just saying that's the example was somebody built something and then he went away and built something bigger. Right, and your comment was, why is Google doing what everybody else is doing, but just better? And so I took that and said, we're not. We're doing something different. And the reason it's different is because we're offering a service that other people haven't offered before.
Yeah, let's not forget, if there wouldn't be that kind of desire in humanity to kind of build better stuff on top of other stuff, we wouldn't be driving around in cars like the ones that are parked outside and so on and so on. We'd still be in horse carriages. So I think it's a good thing sometimes to just take something and say, look, this is alright, but I think I can do it better. And I think one person on the panel did exactly that and did so very successfully. So, you know.
I meant to say that, like all the big companies, they started from small. They have the passion and they build something which is really nice. And this is what I as a user, I would like to go towards such a company actually.
Absolutely.
So,
and you definitely want to work for a company that you feel passionate about. You know, you're not going to work at a company that you don't feel passionate about unless you want to be miserable all day, or you also don't want to sell products that you're not passionate about. Right? If you become a car sales guy, you can't sell a car that you don't think is great. Yeah? So I think we have.
But I mean, obviously, we do not have to invent the wheel new all the time. So I do believe that there is a need for getting better in this type of product. Otherwise, we wouldn't think of if it would be perfect. So there is definitely a need to see if how we can collect content and bring it together. So therefore, let's see what customers do, because in the end, our customers and people using the internet are deciding. So if somebody uses it, Google is going to move forward. If not, Google will not move forward. So fact is, this is something which needs to be tried, and I think it can be really a very cool product. So very last question, because we are running out of time.
I just want to give Roman Egger a quick chance. You were gonna no? Okay. Questions not relevant anymore.
One more here, and then that's it. Thank you. This juncture, I don't have a question, but it's a statement. Upon finishing this statement is whether Google has a justification or not. But in my understanding, it is like what Google has done or is doing is like a landlord whose primary business is to provide space for renting for people to open their shops. And this landlord is within some years constructing a bigger shop in front of the shops. And he's selling, he's now not renting it out, but he's selling exact products that the shops behind it are also providing. So, but again, this landlord is continuing with the advertisements for the shops behind it. Yet, whatever people can find behind is also available in this bigger shop. So, if Google has a justification, all right, but if you don't, it means my thinking will still be the same. Thank you.
So my comment would be, we're not building another shop in front of all the other shops and then selling the other shops just selling. We're directing users to the other shops. Important is the difference between an OTA and Google is that an OTA owns the customer. The name, the email address, the credit card information, and when the hotel customer has a problem with the hotel booking, they will call the OTA and not the hotel. And we don't provide that. And so I think that's a really, really important distinction to make between what our partners are selling and what we're selling. We're providing a user with the option to review and look and compare and then go to one of our partners. We're not providing a booking service that will own the customer. Does that make sense?
And now we have to close that discussion. Thank you, because we need to move on.